Hey guys, how's it going? TJ here with Dead History, and I'm here with Henry.
Hello.
And we're changing it up a little bit because, we're here in our living room in our home with our beautiful Christmas tree behind us.
Yep.
Happy holidays to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And today, of course, Henry, is what? Our next Vice Presidential Series installment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who are we looking at, Henry? What number is he?
The 17th Vice President of the United States, Schuyler Colfax.
That's right. Good job, dude. The 17th Vice President of the United States, Schuyler Colfax. Some cool things to tell you about Schuyler Colfax. But first, before we get into Schuyler Colfax, our 17th Vice President, Henry, what do the people got to do?
Hit subscribe down below, leave all your comments and questions, give a thumbs up, and drop a like.
Awesome. I mean, he does it. He's great. You know, he runs the show here. So, hashtag here for Henry. So, yep. Hit subscribe down below. Leave those comments and questions. Give us a thumbs up and a like. And, of course, we can't forget, hit that little notification bell, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can be notified when we do new videos. And when is that, Henry?
Every single week.
It's every single week. He's right. So now sit back and relax, because here we go. Our next Vice Presidential Series installment, looking at... Actually, no. I was going to say the man behind us, but... it's the Christmas tree behind us. The 17th Vice President, Schuyler Colfax. And this is...
Dead History.
Dead History. Hey guys, TJ back with you. Here with good old Henry.
Hello.
And today, like we said, next Vice Presidential Series installment, the 17th Vice President of the United States. What's his name, Henry?
Schuyler Colfax.
Schuyler Colfax. And pretty cool stuff about Schuyler Colfax. He was actually born in Manhattan, in New York City. Mm-hmm. Pretty cool stuff. And he was Vice President under who, Henry?
Ulysses S. Grant.
Wow, great job. Yeah, President Ulysses S. Grant. He was Grant's Vice President. So, of course, there was Reconstruction going on during that time. And, of course, the Grant administration was fighting the Ku Klux Klan and doing all this stuff. But there was also a lot of scandal that hit the Grant administration and the Grant cabinet. And, unfortunately, Schuyler Colfax, his reputation was kind of tarnished due to some of that scandal. He was actually, named, and he was kind of accused in the whole credit Mobilier scandal. So we're going to get into all that because his really great reputation, Schuyler Colfax, really was tainted due to that scandal. So we're going to get into all these fun facts, right? Mm-hmm. About Schuyler Colfax. So born in Manhattan, he actually died in Minnesota, and then he's buried in Indiana.
Indiana?
In South Bend, Indiana. Right? Mm-hmm. Go Fighting Irish. Notre Dame, right? You're like, what? What's happening here? You don't even know what's going on, huh? You do realize that you have a shark that's eating candy canes and Christmas lights on your shirt, right? I mean, it's a Christmas shirt, but it's a shark, and he's eating Christmas, Henry. He ruined Christmas. Jaws ruined Christmas. Way to go. Unbelievable. All right, so here we go. Our next Vice Presidential Series installment, the 17th Vice President, Schuyler Colfax. But first, before we do it, Henry, what do they gotta go grab?
Go get the potato chip, the soda, the popcorn, the pretzels.
I mean, if you're like us, the big shower hot cocoa, right? I mean, we had it all. Hot cocoa tonight, Christmas tree, all of it.
The Christmas cookies.
The Christmas cookies, that's right. Go get all those snacks, because here we go. Next Vice Presidential Series installment. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Great job. Hey guys, welcome. TJ here with Dead History, and welcome to our next Vice Presidential Series installment as we're taking a look at the 17th Vice President of the United States. What's his name, Henry?
Schuyler Colfax.
Schuyler Colfax. How you doing, Henry?
I'm good.
Henry here with me. And before we get into our next Vice Presidential Series installment, before we get into Schuyler Colfax, wanted to give a couple shout-outs. First and foremost, be sure to tune in. It would actually be tomorrow night, because when this video is released, it'll be Thursday. Mm-hmm. So tomorrow night, Friday, December 10th, at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, be sure to tune in to our Dead History YouTube channel for a very special live stream. That's right.
With someone named Joseph.
Yep, that's right. Someone named Joseph. You're right, Henry. With Dr. Joe Fakosh. Joe Fakosh is actually a historian, a professor of history. He also is the founder and he is the podcaster of Visiting the Presidents. So it's going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome. Dr. Joe Fakosh, tomorrow night, Friday, December 10th at 7 p.m., a very special live stream. Right, Henry?
Yep.
What do they need to do? Tune in?
Tune in.
That's right. Watch it, right? Mm-hmm. All right. Another special shout out that Henry and I want to give real quick is to the YouTube channel Political Facts and Feats. If you guys, it's an awesome YouTube channel. Really one of my favorites. I know Henry's probably seen it. He doesn't even realize, but one of my all-time favorites. If you guys have not already, go subscribe to the YouTube channel Political Facts and Feats. You're probably seeing a screenshot here of it on the screen. Go subscribe. It's really cool. The videos are usually like 7, 8, 10 minutes long, roughly. And it's just cool. It's nothing. There's no narration. All it is just fun facts and feats. It's just statistics, but it's a lot of fun. Very, very well researched. Very cool stuff. So go subscribe, right, Henry? Mm-hmm. Should they do it or what?
Yes.
Yes, that's right. Go subscribe. So very special shout out. I'm going to be doing this audio alone. I'm going to be riding solo, of course. Henry just wanted to stop in and say
hello.
Hello, hello. And, Henry will be back with me probably...
Next week.
Yeah, probably next week. That's right. Yeah, you'll be back with me. Definitely before Christmas. So,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. So, hello from Henry.
Hello.
And I will, we're going to start off. We're just going to get right into our 17th Vice President of the United States. What's his name again?
Schuyler Colfax.
Schuyler Colfax. Man from Indiana. Well, not born in Indiana, but lived in Indiana. Yep, that's right. So we're going to get into all that. So I'm going to take over. Henry's going to skedaddle, as they say, and we're going to jump right in here. See you later, Henry.
Bye.
So here we go, guys. Taking a look at the 17th Vice President of the United States, Schuyler Colfax. The Vice Presidency is an elegant office whose occupant must find it his principal business to try to discover what is the use of there being such an office at all. The Indianapolis Journal, March 7th of 1871. As amiable a man who ever served in Congress, good-natured, kindly, cordial, and always diplomatic, Indiana's Schuyler Colfax won the nickname Smiler Colfax. Through two of the most tumultuous decades in American public life, Colfax glided smoothly from the Whig to Know Nothing to Republican parties, mingling easily with both conservatives and radicals. He rose to become a Speaker of the House and Vice President and seemed poised to achieve his goal of the presidency. Along the way, there were those who doubted the sincerity behind the smile and suspected that for all his political dexterity, Colfax stood for nothing save his own advancement. Those close to President Abraham Lincoln later revealed that he considered Speaker Colfax an untrustworthy intriguer, and President Ulysses S. Grant seemed relieved when the Republican convention dumped Vice President Colfax from the ticket in 1872. Even the press, which counted the Indiana editor as a colleague and pumped him up to the national prominence, eventually turned on Colfax and shredded his once admirable reputation until he disappeared into the forgotten recesses of American history. Bit about his early years. Schuyler Colfax was born into a family of distinguished heritage but depleted circumstances. His grandfather, who had fought in the American Revolution and served closely with George Washington, married Hester Schuyler, a cousin of General Philip Schuyler, and named one of his sons for Washington and another for Schuyler. Schuyler Colfax Sr. became a teller in a bank on New York City's Wall Street. In 1820, he married Hannah Stryker, the daughter of a widowed boarding house keeper. He died of tuberculosis 2 years later as his wife was expecting her first child. 4 months after his father's death, Schuyler Jr. was born in New York City on March 23rd of 1823. Hey, it's my brother's birthday. Pretty cool. March 23rd. Not of 1823, though, of course. As a boy, Colfax attended public schools until he was 10, when he was obliged to work as a clerk in a retail store to help support himself, his mother, and his grandmother. 3 years later, his mother married George W. Matthews, and the family moved to New Carlisle, Indiana. Young Colfax worked in his stepfather's store, which served also as the village post office. Townspeople later recalled that Colfax would sit on barrels reading newspapers as they arrived by post. He borrowed whatever books he could get to provide himself with an education. In 1841, the family moved to South Bend, where Matthews was elected as the Whig candidate for county auditor and hired Schuyler as his deputy. Enjoying politics, the boy became active in a moot legislature, where he gained his first experience in debate and parliamentary procedure. So pretty cool stuff there about his early years and how he kind of got involved in politics at an early age. Politics and the press. At 16, Colfax wrote to Horace Greeley, editor of the influential Whig newspaper, the New York Tribune, offering to send occasional articles. Always open to new talent, Greeley agreed and published the boy's writings on Indiana politics, beginning a correspondence and friendship that lasted for the rest of their lives. Colfax also reported on the Indiana legislature for the Indiana State Journal, and when he was 19, local Whigs engaged him to edit the South Bend Free Press. The young editor described himself as an uncompromising Whig. He idolized Henry Clay and embraced all of the Whig reforms, taking a pledge of abstinence from alcoholic spirits, but not from the cigars he loved. In 1844, he married a childhood sweetheart, Evelyn Clark, and by the next year was able to purchase the Free Press, renaming it the St. Joseph Valley Register. The writer Harriet Beecher Stowe later proclaimed it a morally pure paper. Advancing from the editorial page into politics, Colfax served as a delegate to the Whig Convention of 1848 and to the convention that drafted a new constitution for Indiana in 1849. He led the opposition to a provision in the Constitution that barred African Americans from settling in Indiana or those already in the state from purchasing land. Despite his efforts, this racial barrier stood until ruled unconstitutional as a consequence of the 13th Amendment to the Constitution in 1865. In 1851, the Whigs chose Colfax to run for Congress. At that time, Indiana was a Democratic state, and Colfax narrowly lost to the incumbent Democrat. He declined to run again in 1852, dismayed over the disintegration of the Whig Party and offended by Senator Stephen A. Douglas's Kansas-Nebraska Act that repealed the Missouri Compromise, Colfax again ran for Congress in 1854 as an anti-Nebraska candidate. His friend and fellow editor Horace Greeley, who had served a brief term in 1849, encouraged him. "I thought it would be a nuisance and a sacrifice for me to go to Congress," he advised Colfax, "but I was mistaken. It did me lasting good. I never was brought so palpably and tryingly into collision with the embodied scoundrelism of the nation as while in Congress." Building a new party. Anti-slavery Whigs like Colfax sought to build a new party that combined the anti-slavery elements among the Whigs, Democrats, and Free Soilers, a coalition that eventually emerged as the Republican Party. For a brief time, however, it seemed likely that a nativist organization, the Know Nothings, might become the new majority party. The first Know Nothing Lodge in Indiana opened in early 1854, and by election time, the party had grown. In the words of one Methodist minister, "as thick as the locusts in Egypt." The Know Nothings opposed slavery and alcohol, but turned their greatest passions against Catholics and immigrants. Although Colfax shared these nativist prejudices, arguing that Protestant foreigners who are thoroughly Americanized should be admitted into the party, he made it clear that he would remain only if the Know Nothings kept a firm anti-slavery plank in their platform. When the new congressman arrived in the House of Representatives in 1855, it was unclear which members belonged to what party. The New York Tribune Almanac estimated that there were 118 anti-Nebraska representatives, a number that included Republicans, anti-Nebraska Democrats, and anti-slavery Know-Nothings, comprising a slight majority of the House. By the following year, the Know-Nothings had already peaked and declined, and Colfax announced that he would run for re-election as a Republican. The House of Representatives proved an ideal arena for Colfax's talents. Short and stocky, fair-haired, with a ready smile, he got along well with his colleagues in private, but never hesitated to do battle with the opposition on the House floor. When Republicans held the majority, he served energetically as chairman of the Committee on Post Offices and Post Roads, handling the kind of patronage that built political organizations. Never having been a lawyer, he could put complex issues of the day into layman's terms. In 1856, his speech attacking laws passed by the pro-slavery legislature in Kansas became the most widely requested Republican campaign document. His speech raised warnings that it was a short step between enslaving blacks and suppressing the civil liberties of whites. Watching Colfax battle Southern representatives over the slavery issue, James Dabney McCabe recorded that Mr. Colfax took an active part in the debate, giving and receiving hard blows with all the skill of an old gladiator. Colfax traveled widely, spoke frequently, and helped fuse the various Republican and anti-slavery groups into a unified party for the 1860 election. When the Southern Democrats seceded and put House Republicans in the majority, he considered running for Speaker, but after testing the waters, declined to be a candidate. He resumed his chairmanship of the Post Office Committee. Colfax took a moderate position on emancipation and other issues of the day, maintaining close ties with both wings of his party. He enjoyed direct access to President Lincoln and often served as a conduit of information and opinion from Horace Greeley and other Republican editors. He worked tirelessly on behalf of the Union, recruiting regiments and raising public spirits. Yet anti-war sentiments ran strong in Indiana and many other northern states, and in 1862, Colfax faced a tough campaign for re-election against David A. Turpie. Winning a narrow victory further elevated Colfax within the party at a time when many other Republicans, including House Speaker Galusha Grow, were defeated. When the 38th Congress convened in December of 1863, House Republicans, with their numbers considerably thinned, elected Schuyler Colfax Speaker, despite President Lincoln's preference for a speaker less tied to the radical faction of his party. Speaker of the House. As Speaker of the House, Schuyler Colfax presided, in the words of the journalist Ben Perley-Poore, in rather a slapdash, knock-em-down auctioneer style, greatly in variance with the decorous dignity of his predecessors. He had studied and mastered the rules of the House, and both sides considered his rulings fair. Credited as being the most popular speaker since Henry Clay, Colfax aspired to be as powerful as Clay. Certainly, he shared Clay's sense of the dramatic, once stepping down from the presiding officer's chair to urge the House to expel an Ohio Democrat who had advocated recognizing the independence of the Confederacy. Another time, the Speaker broke precedent by requesting that his vote be recorded in favor of the 13th Amendment. Yet, with the exception of the power to appoint members to committees, the Speaker of the House was still mostly a figurehead. Observers declared the real power in the House to be the tough-minded Pennsylvanian Thaddeus Stevens, chairman of the Appropriations Committee and de facto Republican floor leader. Washington newspaper correspondents celebrated the election of one of their own as Speaker and threw a dinner in his honor. We journalists and men of the newspaper press do love you and claim you as bone of our bone and flesh of our flesh, said correspondent Sam Wilkinson. Fill your glasses all in an invocation to the gods for long life, greater success, and ever-increasing happiness to our editorial brother in the Speaker's chair. In reply, Colfax thanked the press for sustaining him through all his elections. Trained in journalism, Speaker Colfax applied the lessons of his craft to his political career, making himself available for interviews, planting stories, sending flattering notes to editors, suggesting editorials, and spreading patronage. A widower, his wife died in 1863 with no children. Colfax was free to socialize nightly with his friends on Washington's Newspaper Row. He hoped to parlay his popularity with the press into a national following that would make him the first journalist to occupy the White House. The press lavished more attention on Speaker Colfax than they had on Galusha Grow or any of his immediate predecessors. They praised the regular Friday night receptions that the Speaker and his mother held and commended him for the courtesy, dignity, and equitability which he exhibited in the discharge of the important duties of the chair. It was harder for the press to detect whether Speaker Colfax actually had any influence on specific legislation. He gave the radical firebrands wide latitude while speaking with moderation himself. At one point, when radical Republicans were prepared to introduce a resolution in the party conference that defended the Republican record and called for the use of black soldiers in the Union Army, Colfax outflanked them with a motion that substituted patriotic flag-waving for partisanship, calling it instead for all loyal men to stand by the Union. His action was taken as an effort to give the Republican Party a less vindictive image that would build a broader base for congressional elections. On April 14th of 1865, Colfax called at the White House to talk over Reconstruction and other matters with President Lincoln before Colfax left on a long tour of the western states and territories. With the war won, Lincoln was in an ebullient mood and held a long and pleasant conversation with the speaker, whom Lincoln privately regarded as a little intriguer, plausible, aspiring beyond his capacity, and not trustworthy. The president invited the speaker to join his party at Ford's Theater that night, but Colfax declined. Later that evening, he was awakened with the news that the president had been shot and rushed to spend the night in the room where Lincoln died. Reconstructing the South. During the summer of 1865, Colfax toured the mining regions between the Rocky Mountains and the Pacific. Newspaper correspondent Albert Richardson, who accompanied him, recorded that the trip proved to be one continuous ovation for Colfax, with brass bands, banquets, and public receptions, during which the speaker made 70 speeches. He returned to a capital still uncertain over how the new president, Andrew Johnson, would handle the reconstruction of their southern states. Radicals in Congress trusted that Johnson would use federal troops to support tough policies toward the former Confederacy. But there were signs that Johnson favored a speedier, more lenient readmission of the states. That November, at a serenade to mark his return to Washington, Speaker Colfax made some remarks that seemed impromptu, but that may have been prearranged. He endorsed Johnson's attempts to begin Reconstruction prior to congressional legislation, and set as a minimum for the return of the southern states a guarantee that freed men would be treated equally under the law. He made no mention of the radical demand that the freed men also have the right to vote. The speech won widespread praise in the North, where it was perceived as the firm foundation of Republican policy on which both the president and Congress could stand. Colfax's efforts at a party harmony and moderate course of Reconstruction were short-lived. Johnson resented Colfax's preempting his own statement of policy on the subject. The president's plan to reconstruct the South showed little regard for the rights of the freed men, and he vetoed such relatively moderate congressional efforts as the Freedmen's Bureau Bill. His action drove moderate and radical Republicans into an alliance that brought about congressional reconstruction of the South. Finally, Johnson's dismissal of Secretary of War Edwin Stanton in violation of the Tenure of Office Act convinced even moderates like Colfax that the president must be impeached. Through all of these dramatic events, Colfax's most astonishing success was his ability to retain the support of all sides in his party and to hold House Republicans together. The party defections that saved Johnson took place in the Senate rather than the House. So that pretty much leads us up to his vice presidency. Of course, we're going to save his vice presidency and legacy and death and all that kind of stuff for part 2 tomorrow. However, let me read you just some more little things about his earlier life. Schuyler Colfax was born on March 23rd of 1823 in New York City, months after his father had died. His mother raised him by herself until 1834 when she remarried. The family then moved to Indiana. Colfax had little formal education, having left school as a young boy to help support the family. He became interested in politics at an early age and read newspapers voraciously. He was a supporter of the Whig Party, abolitionism, and the temperance movement. In 1844, he married Evelyn Clark, and the couple had no children, and she died in 1863. In 1845, Colfax and a friend scraped together enough money to buy a local newspaper. After losing his first election in 1851, he was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives in 1854. The next election, he ran as a Republican. Colfax served in the House of Representatives until he resigned to become vice president in 1869, and he was elected Speaker of the House in 1863. Speaker Colfax was an effective leader who successfully united the different factions of the Republican Party. During the Civil War, he recruited military regiments in Indiana and worked to marshal support for President Abraham Lincoln and his policies. In fact, Colfax met with Lincoln to discuss Reconstruction just hours before the president was assassinated. After Andrew Johnson became president, Colfax was a member of the radical Republicans who opposed the president's moderate policies for reintegrating the South into the Union. He also supported Congress's efforts to impeach Johnson, although the Senate did not have enough votes to convict the president. And then we'll get into the stuff about his vice presidency, of course, tomorrow. Colfax, born in New York City, March 23rd, 1823, the son of Schuyler Colfax Sr., a bank teller, and Hannah Stryker, both of Dutch ancestry, who had married on April 25th of 1820. His grandfather, William Colfax, served in George Washington's Life Guard during the American Revolution and married Hester Schuyler, the second great-granddaughter of Philip Peterus Schuyler, and a cousin of General Philip Schuyler. William Colfax became a general in the New Jersey militia after the Revolution and commanded a brigade during the War of 1812. Schuyler Colfax Sr. contracted tuberculosis and died on October 30th of 1822, 5 months before Colfax was born. His sister Mary died in July of 1823, 4 months after he was born. After the senior Colfax's death, Colfax's mother and grandmother ran a boarding house as their primary means of economic support. Colfax attended school in New York City until he was 10, when family financial difficulties caused him to end his formal education and take a job as a clerk in the store of George W. Matthews. Hannah Colfax and George Matthews were married in 1836, and the family moved to New Carlisle, Indiana, where Matthews ran a store which also served as the village post office. There, Colfax became an avid reader of newspapers and books. The family moved again in 1841 to nearby South Bend, Indiana, after Matthews became St. Joseph County Auditor. He appointed Colfax as his deputy, a post which Colfax held throughout the 8 years Matthews was in office. In 1842, Colfax became the editor of the pro-Whig South Bend Free Press, owned by John D. DeFries. When DeFries moved to Indianapolis the following year and purchased the Indiana Journal, he hired Colfax to cover the Indiana Senate for the Journal. In addition to covering the state Senate, Colfax contributed articles on Indiana politics to the New York Tribune, leading to a friendship with its editor, Horace Greeley. In 1845, Colfax purchased the South Bend Free Press and changed its name to the St. Joseph Valley Register. He owned the Register for 9 years, at first in support of the Whigs, and then shifting to the newly established Republican Party. And then it kind of goes into the Whig Party politics that he had, and then the the Know Nothing party affiliation, of course, his opposition to slavery, and then we heard about the Civil War and his time as Speaker of the House, Reconstruction, and then that kind of leads us all the way up to the election of 1868, which we're going to get into tomorrow. So, cool stuff, good stuff. That's pretty much it for part one. That is the early life and the political rise of our 17th Vice President of the United States, Schuyler Colfax. Now, keep in mind, there is no bonus footage. The only bonus footage I'll have for this series is in part two. I'll show you some of course, my gravesite pictures for bonus footage. But most of Colfax's things are in Indiana. So even where he was born in New York City is kind of a mystery. So unfortunately, there's nothing for me to go see because I can't make it obviously out to Indiana right now. There's nothing for me to go see to bring you any sort of bonus footage. So apologize for that. No bonus footage, but part two is going to be great. We're going to go into the vice presidency and legacy and scandal about Schuyler Colfax. And then, of course, his gravesite and such. So there you go. Stay tuned, guys, for tomorrow. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for everything you do. Remember, go follow Political Facts and Feats on YouTube. Subscribe to that channel. Stay tuned tomorrow night, Friday, December 10th, for the very special live stream with myself and Dr. Joe Fakosh, the podcaster of Visiting the Presidents. Go check out that podcast. It's awesome. So stay tuned, guys. Lots going on. Thank you for everything. Thank you for all you guys do. And we will see you tomorrow for part two. Bye-bye, guys. Well. Guess who has egg on his face, so to speak? That would be me. So I was incorrect that there will be no bonus footage. Au contraire, mon frère, as they say. It is, there's going to be bonus footage. So stay tuned here, part one. It's not going to be a ton of bonus footage, but it's going to be pretty damn cool, I have to admit. So, something I researched a little further, found out about, and very, very cool. So, yes, stay tuned. There is bonus footage. Take a look. Hey guys, TJ here with Dead History. You'll actually see right there above me, North Moore Street. I'm going to turn you guys around. So I am in Lower Manhattan, and I am on North Moore Street here. Excuse the pigeons. So this is North Moore Street here that I'm on. And this right here is number 80. This big, huge apartment building. This is 80 North Moore Street. So, upon all my research, I learned that Schuyler Colfax was born at 84 or 86 North Moore Street. I believe it was 84. So, I'm going to actually cross the street here. So, of course, that is no longer standing. The house that he was born in is long, long gone. As you see, it's nothing but apartment buildings and such. Now, going down that way, the numbers are getting lower. So, here's 80. So, 84 or 86, whatever one it was. Let me actually double check myself. Hold on. Sorry about that, guys. So, I just checked. It was 86. So 86 North Moore Street. If this is 80, this big, huge apartment building, 86 was probably somewhere right around here. So this was actually the birthplace of our 17th Vice President of the United States, Schuyler Colfax, here in Lower Manhattan. I am in New York City, in Lower Manhattan. And 86 North Moore Street is the house that he was born at. It was probably somewhere right around there. So, thanks guys. Hey guys, TJ here with Dead History, and I am at what? Yeah. Let me flip you guys around. So I am at the Schuyler Colfax house here in Wayne, New Jersey. So this home was actually built in 1695. From what I've read, it's actually one of the oldest dwellings and buildings in all of the state of New Jersey. So it was built in 1695 by Arndt Schuyler. He eventually gave this and passed this along to his great-granddaughter, Hester Schuyler. Hester Schuyler, she married William Colfax. And William Colfax and Hester Schuyler are the grandparents of Schuyler Colfax, our 17th Vice President of the United States. So, this home was the home of Schuyler Colfax's grandparents, Hester and William. Now, William was also the general in, here's a little like pond, little lake, river type thing here. He was the general, not a general, I don't think he was a general, I take that back. He was definitely in the Revolutionary War, and he fought with General George Washington. And I believe that he was the head of, or he was a big part of, a New Jersey regiment or New Jersey militia in the Revolutionary War. William Colfax, that is. But yeah, this is the house right here in Wayne, New Jersey. So, you know, when I really started researching Colfax more and more, and I realized, well, boy, when I said there was no bonus footage, I realized, well, how wrong I really was. So here we are at the Schuyler Colfax house. Very cool. See the inside. See some stuff in there. Ooh, that's cool. Look at that. Now, I don't know if I believe that's William Colfax, that bust. I believe it is. It looks to be, at least. Pretty cool stuff. Here you go. National Historic Register of Places. I'm going to go around back and show you maybe a back view, too. Hold on. All right, here we go. See me in the window here, but then you go a little bit more inside. Bookshelf. There you go. I'm on the back porch here. So pretty cool stuff. Schuyler Colfax house here in Wayne, New Jersey. Just wanted to show you guys this. Thanks, guys. Hey guys, TJ here with Dead History, and yes, I am in the Colfax burial ground here in Wayne, New Jersey. Yeah! So, in honor of General William Colfax, So right there, that's William Colfax. That is Schuyler Colfax's grandfather. And his father and his sister are also in here. I am not exactly sure which one it is. Could be that one. But his father and his sister are both in here. His father, you can't even read these. They're so illegible. However, Schuyler Colfax, our 17th vice president, this is definitely his grandfather here, William. And then you got his grandmother, Hester's also here. And then his sister, Mary, and his father, Schuyler Sr., are here. Again, I'm not exactly sure where. Joyce Colfax, so there you go. But this is the Colfax burial ground here. It's only about 100 yards from that Schuyler Colfax house here in Wayne, New Jersey. But yeah, so you have his grandfather and grandmother, and somewhere along here is his father and his sister Mary. So pretty interesting stuff. Again, can't really read any of these. Pretty illegible, but there you go, guys. Just wanted to show you guys this. Thanks so much.